It's time for the one and the only show with the one and the only. Please welcome Luke Howard. Woo! Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Morning all, it's Saturday the 27th of April 2019. Hope you're all well and I hope you're all having a lovely weekend so far. My name is Luke Howard and every Saturday morning between the times of 10:30 till 11:15, it's me with my fantastic show, the one and the only show, the Luke Howard Show. And best news, it's live, but this week, unfortunately, it's not live. It's recorded this week. So we've recorded it 2 days before the 27th. So so it's Thursday. So it's Thursday today, but I'm doing this for Saturday because we're not going to be around on Saturday morning. So this week it's recorded. So sit back, relax, because I've got some really, really good stories to talk about on today's show. And so we're talking about this story. Oh my God, this is absolutely awful. Experts. Now, experts, what the heck do they know? What do experts know? They're actually saying that under twos who spend any time looking at screens risk to obesity and learning problems. So we're talking about that now, and then we're going to talk about this story that over the weekend, over the bank holiday weekend, I couldn't believe it. The weather was fantastic. I hope you all had a lovely Easter, by the way. Do let me know what you did. You know how to get in touch. 07593847105. Start your message with the word talk. Or what you can do is you can call 07593847105 or email GaryJHoward68@hotmail.com or go onto the social media pages. Instagram, it's at the Luke Howard fan page. Twitter, it's the Luke Howard Show. The Luke Howard Show on YouTube and hashtag Luke Howard Show. Right, so we'll be talking about this that happened in Cheshunt. This is basically a story. I think what happened was, nothing happened. It was just an event that happened during the sun. And it was a beautiful, beautiful weather. Some beautiful weather that we had over that weekend. So we're going to be talking about that. And then our last story, because I walked past this shop only yesterday, actually, funny enough. It's in Ware High Street. There's another shop that's open. It's the Book Nook. It's a bookshop and tea room. I'm going to be visiting this place soon. It's in Ware High Street. I walked past it yesterday. It looks incredible. So we're going to be talking about that as well, and I'm going to be having my say about that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this Saturday show. Right. So now listen to this. I'm going to read this article out. And then I'm going to have my say on what I think about this. Okay? Right, so, here we go. So, children under 2 should not be allowed to watch screens. But why? Why shouldn't they? I'm 17 years old. I'm not young, but I'm 17 years old now. When I was young, I never really went on screens, because we never had screens in my time. We never really had screens. Come on, really? I mean, I didn't have screens when I was young, but then it gradually built up, and then they invented the computers, they invented Windows, and then what's his name from Windows? I can't remember. Bill Gates invented all this stuff, and then everywhere you go, everyone is on computers. Well, I can talk because I'm always on a computer or something like that. So I've thought this is what I think about this story. As I'm saying now, because I'm letting you know what I think about it. Who cares? Whether if you're young or whether if you're old, get out there, go on the computer, go on your iPad and go on as long as you want to go in. I'm always on mine. I'm on mine all the time. But this is what experts said. Now, experts, what do they know? So they warned that even a minute a day in front of the TV or... I'm always watching TV. I'm watching TV all the time. I'm playing on tablets and smartphones. Could be dangerous. Really? The guidelines, actually the first of their kind for toddlers, highlight the risk of obesity and educational problems. Preschoolers glued to screens take longer to learn words and are worse at counting. That's what I do. And have shorter attention spans after assessing hundreds of studies, the World Health Organization experts actually advised the total ban of screen time for the under 2s and said that under 5s should have no more than an hour a day. An hour a day? John Riley, a University of Strathclyde professor, actually she helped draw up the guidelines and said that the advice showed that screens were harmful for very, very young children. Now, I would actually agree with that. She actually added that the government should recognise cider time limits for children to fall in line with other countries, of course. Now, okay, so it doesn't really matter how long that they play on it for. Maybe. It doesn't matter how long they go on it for. What's it going to do? Give them brain damage? But it doesn't matter how long that kids can go on computer screens for. That's what I think. But do I really think that? Yeah, I do think that. But really should... Okay, so cider time limits for children to fall in we said that bit, didn't we? But at the moment, at this very moment, though, the default is actually to wait and see if screens cause problems in children as adults, and then they would actually do something about it, by which time it may be too late, perhaps, maybe. And experts have actually been criticised for trying to turn back the clock by actually keeping young children away from screens. But you do not have to go that far, as they say, but to see that they used to play quite happily without screens and not get bored. Chief Medical Officer Dame Sally Davis has actually so far stopped short of setting screen time limits, despite telling parents to ban smartphones from children's bedrooms. The new guidance actually set out recommendations, and if you just it's a hard one. I mean, that's a very hard story. I mean, okay. That's what I have said my word about this, and I actually think that anyone could actually go on a screen at whatever age they want to go on it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you've got they say you got to go to bed, and they say if you're going to go to bed straight after you've been on an iPad or a computer screen or TV screen, they say you must go an hour later. You must go 1 hour later, and because you won't be able to sleep. Look, I can't sleep very well. I don't usually get to sleep till like 1 o'clock in the morning because of that. And and I wanted to have my say on this one. I don't. Sometimes if I'm on it too much, I won't fall asleep till like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's pathetic. And I go to bed about 9 o'clock at 8:30 at night, and then I don't fall asleep till really late. So yeah, it's hard. I think, and what else can we do in our days? There's nothing really else that we can do. Just sit around on a computer screen or something like that. That's all I can say. And lots of people go on iPads and computers and all of that, and they're glued to it. And say there's a new game that's come out, Fortnite. My friends play it. I play it with them sometimes, but I don't always play it. I never really play it. I've played it a few times, and they are always on it. They are glued. They don't come off it. They're on it for hours and hours and hours. That's another thing. So it's not just computer screens and it's not just TV screens. I don't suppose you heard that one child was hospitalised through that game. So yeah, and it's not good. And that's another example of this story. It's not just computer screens and it's not just iPads. It's also games that they play on there as well. Say if they're violent, or say if they're normal, or say if it's alright, or if it's not alright, then obviously that is why they can't sleep and why they don't eat. That is the reason. That is how it happens. If you ask me, that is definitely how it happens. So, but do you know what? It's quite a hard story. This story, and we will move on to the easier stories in a bit. But this one, this is a lot. This is a lot. This one. And it's just about iPad screens and all of that. And all I can say is, people, just try and play Scrabble or something like that. Or try and play some other games. And take your mind off it. Then come back to it perhaps later on. Maybe do that. Perhaps. Maybe. That's what I would do. Or is it No, yeah, I would actually. No, I would do that. I think. Yeah, I think that's quite a good idea. Yeah, so you can do that perhaps, or you could read a book. I don't know if you read a book, people out there. I don't know if anybody reads books. I read a book. Well, I haven't read a book in ages. The only book I've read is my great aunt Val's book. But why don't you read a book? Book sounds quite interesting, if you ask me. I wouldn't go on the computer screen for too long. When I heard that a computer came out, I started going on it for hours. So I was on a computer screen for hours and hours and hours. But I don't go on it very much now, but I've done it before, if you know what I mean. Right, okay, so we're going to talk about some sports news now, alright, some sports news. And I suppose you saw this, Liverpool. There was something in the news about Liverpool, I think, wasn't there? Hang on, where have I got to find? Oh no, sorry, no, I got it wrong. No, patients will actually be hit by... No, yeah, sorry, we are talking about this other story. No, we could talk about sports next week, but we're going to talk about patients. Now, patients will actually be hit by a doctor pension crisis. So lots of people have heard about this story. Now, patients will wait longer for operations and care and will get worse in the face of a looming pensions crisis. For doctors, the British Medical Association has actually warned that the Doctors' Union claims that new pension rules are forcing consultants to systematically reduce their hours or take early retirement. The BMA has written to Chancellor Philip Hammond, and this is warning that the regulations are creating a perfect storm for creating for the NHS with serious consequences for patients. Wow, that's great. I wouldn't really say it's great, really. It's not. Well, I don't know really much about this story, but anyway, doctors actually. I'm reading this on my script, by the way. Doctors actually say that they are being hit by huge tax bills on their pensions as a result of new rules that came into force in 2016. Some have told of being stung with 5-figure tax bills after working overtime to help reduce waiting lists. Wow. Dr. Rob Harwood, the chairman of the BMA's Consultant Committee, said doctors' only option was to cut back on their hours and to be treatment of their patients. Well, I never. He added, it cannot be right that doctors working extra hours are to reduce waiting lists of cover rota gaps and are then hit with additional tax bills greater than the value of the extra hours worked. Unless action is taken, the only option is to actually reduce the amount of time that they work for the NHS, and it will be detrimental to our patients and to the country's health service, of course. And under the rules, if a doctor earns more than £110,000 and uses the full £40,000 pension allowance, a tapper kicks in that gradually slashes their tax-free allowance down to £10,000. Well, I never. This means that they £10,000, blimey. This means that they can be taxed thousands for earning a penny over the threshold, perhaps, and certain doctors have actually been hit with unexpected bills of over £80,000. £80,000, blimey. And some have had to remortgage their homes to pay up to a BMA survey of 4,000 consultants. Found 30% planned to cut back hours and 60% intended to retire early because of the issue. John Keller of the Patients Association actually said that there's no doubt patient care, and it will suffer. Patient care will suffer if vastly unexperienced doctors turn down extra shifts. And the impact of this on patients is significant, from longer waiting hours for people in pain and discomfort to delays in cancer diagnosis. Now, people who require care and treatment from doctors will actually be the ones affected. I never knew this. One NHS cancer treatment specialist said she had not taken on any extra shifts for 2 years, adding, if nothing changes, trusts are going to see spiralling waiting lists, and it is just billing now, and it is going to get worse, as they say. And the Department of Health said, we recognise the tax implications of the annual allowance and its impact on high earnings in the NHS, and we keep public senior pay and pensions policy under continuous review and are talking to the Treasury about the issue. The Treasury said Doctors benefit from one of the best defined benefit or complementary pension schemes, but we have to get to the balance right between encouraging saving the managing government finances, which is why they restrict the tax relief available for the highest earners. Well, I never. Wow. And there's one more story as well.